Alrighty, guys, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Comics Run the World podcast. As always, I am Orion Scott Comics, aka Mateo, and as always, I'm accompanied by
Woody, what's up? You got a new mic? It sounds great.
new mic. No more, laptop mic. No more, AirPods default mic. We actually got a new mic, thankfully. Now the only
Sounds
upgrade
good,
I
dude.
have left. Thank you. The only upgrade I got left is the camera. So hopefully, I find a good one for not that cheap. Not that expensive. I mean, but yeah, we are. This is proof that we are always upgrading the podcast.
Upgrading, yeah.
Upgrading always. Alrighty. So today is gonna be a fairly short episode. We only have two main topics of discussion. We're gonna talk about Shazam: Fear of the Gods, and we're doing a new bracket with the what is it? Just villains, comic book villains. So I'm pretty excited about that. I know I have a lot of hot takes when it comes to
I
villains.
think I do too. So this is gonna
So
be fun.
just like whenever we do these brackets, there's always a hot take that just is just like really a really hot take. So it's always fun to do these. First things first. We did get as the day of this recording, the 23rd of March. We did get a new promo image of Blue Beetle. Now, personally, I love it. It looks great. It looks just like the Injustice costume. Just the cast in general sounds great. I know the guy who plays Jaime Reyes, Blue Beetle. He's from Cobra Kai, isn't he?
I have no idea. I've never seen Cobra Kai. I think he is though. I think I've heard that before.
Yeah. I saw some episodes of Cobra Kai just like in the background because my friends were watching it, and he just popped up on the screen. And I have hope that he's gonna do a really good job as Blue Beetle. Obviously, costume looks great. I love the font of the title, Blue Beetle. It looks like kind of like a graffiti-esque font, which I
Yeah,
like. George Lopez is in it, so I'm excited for that because I love George Lopez.
I didn't know he was in it.
Yeah, it's like whenever you wake up, like by taking a nap, and like the first thing you see is like the George Lopez show. Yeah, so that's always it's great seeing him back. But yeah, I'm excited for it. Still, the question brings, how will this connect to James Gunn's DC universe as a whole? What do you think might happen? Would you think this is gonna be like a mesh, like it rolls over to the DCU, or what do you think
Yeah,
might happen with that?
I would assume so. This will come out after Flash, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, they can just. I'm sure they'll do like an origin story, and he can kind of be a brand new thing. He's never appeared in anything before, so
Yeah,
I think
that's
he'll
true.
just roll right in. It'll be perfect for the new
I mean,
DCU.
hopefully, because this is this like debut movie. We don't want like his debut movie to be scrapped in
Yeah,
entirety. So that'd be not a choice if they do go that route. Um, One thing that I hope for the movie at least is that they at least do a little brief cameo and they touch upon the other two Blue Beetles. I think it was Dan Garrett and Ted Kord Blue Beetle. Dan Garrett being like the first like Blue Beetle ever. Then we get Ted Kord Blue Beetle, and then obviously Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle. Hopefully they make an appearance in some capacity in the movie. But overall, I'm very excited for this movie. Um, it's a new trend I'm seeing nowadays where when it's any new superhero at all, just like this like super toxic Discord on online saying like how like this movie's terrible, the MCU's in shambles, the DCU's in
yeah.
shambles. I'm
It's
like,
getting very popular to just roast comic
yeah,
book movies because, like, I don't know, with the Infinity Saga, everyone loved it, because it was. But ever since then, I get it. I do think there's been a decline or whatever. But yeah, it
mhm,
is a very popular, trendy thing to hate on them
yeah,
because they're
and
it's kind of like the same with like I don't know, like Fortnite. When something is like that
yeah,
that successful and that high up, it's just naturally people are going to hate on it because it's going to get clicks, it's going to get views, it's going to get attention. So
yeah, and
some of
like
it's warranted, some of it isn't.
that's true, yeah, and like as we're probably going to discuss later on with our discussion of Shazam, a lot of this hate just like coming out of nowhere does in fact hinder the performance of the movie because less people would want to see it because of what they see online compared to what it actually is. Um,
True.
but without further ado, Shazam: Fear of the Gods. I saw it twice in the movie theaters. You saw it only once, right?
Saw it once.
Alrighty. Um,
Random
Overall,
fun fact I'll say about the movie real quick. Um, has nothing to do with the movie, but I don't know why. I just want to tell the story. The movie started, and you know how the lights like dim when the movie starts? The lights didn't dim and they stayed on.
oh wow,
And I was in like this at Universal Studios in Orlando, and like the lights were bright, like brighter than most theaters. So I missed like the whole beginning scene of the, I forget they call it, the Ladies of Atlas, Daughters of Atlas. I missed that whole scene because I had to go tell the guy at the front. I was like, "Hey, I can't see the movie. It's really bright."
yeah.
So I kind of assumed what happened in that scene, but I didn't get to see it.
Yeah, I mean, we can start talking about the Daughters of Atlas since they were a focus of concern for this movie because they are original villains in the sense of like they're not really Shazam villains because Shazam's villains Rogues Gallery are kind of like it's just Black Adam, Mister Mind, the Monster Society of Evil. There's a guy named Captain Nazi, an old more in the 40s villain
Okay.
sense. This giant like robot man. He has a pretty bizarre rogues gallery, but we don't really see the Daughters of Atlas in his rogues gallery at all. And obviously, a lot of people were concerned about it because they're new original villains and being introduced in this movie to go against Shazam, and since DC's in like has been in a semi weeks like space, people are saying like they shouldn't really take that risk, you know, going forward and make new villains because if they don't, pan
Land
out
it,
to
yeah.
like, yeah, it would just hinder the movie even more. Um, but honestly, I really liked how they were in the movie. I know you said you didn't see the introduction, but I think the introduction was really well done. Them going to the museum and then knocking over the glass encasing where the staff of Shazam is being held, and then them grabbing it. The part I really liked the most was with Calypso, I think, the one that Lucy Liu plays, where she's like uh, ensues chaos essentially. So she whispers something in someone's ear, and then they just go berserk. And whenever they do that, whenever she does that to someone else, that person starts spreading it just by whispering in their ears, and just like kind of like spreading it out, like in that like kind of like unique sense of just like instead of biting like a zombie would essentially, they just whisper like the chaos curse whatever in their ears, and then they go ballistic, and then they spread it all around. I thought it was a pretty solid introduction to them. They were campy, they were cheesy, but for what they serve in the movie, I liked it.
I
What
saw
were
the
you?
I walked in at the part where they turned them to like stone.
Yeah.
That's the part that I kind of saw. Um, as far as them in general, I thought their backstory was really really cool.
Yeah.
Like being the daughters of Atlas and all that. I was a bit confused. Maybe you can help me. Why they said Shazam had stolen their powers. I I don't know. I didn't get that.
So what I got from it is, I remember there's a scene where like they go over like, you know, typical like cheesy comic book. They read over like
Hmm.
history book and like give like a whole description of like who these
I like
characters
that
are.
scene. I like
Yeah,
that scene.
it was pretty well done. Um, so basically, the staff that the Wizard Shazam had was originally from had contained the powers of like those six
Yeah,
gods
the
essentially.
yeah.
So when the Wizard Shazam bestowed that power onto Billy, that's basically like saying that like basically what the Wizard Shazam did with himself. He gave up his power to be transfused into Billy. So basically, the Wizard Shazam stole the power from Atlas and then took it for himself and then transmuted it
Okay.
onto Billy. So that's kind of like the whole shtick of that, from what I understood at least.
Okay, because I was thinking, because I know it's like the wisdom of Solomon. I thought it was like their power. I see what you're saying. Um, I like that scene though, where it's like just like dropping lore, dropping.
Yeah,
I thought their backstory was really cool. I thought their powers were really cool. I like the idea of doing a brand new villain in a movie. I think it's fun. It's something different. It allows
yeah,
the director, whoever, to just kind of do his own thing. Especially with someone like Shazam, where he doesn't really have a huge, besides Black Adam, doesn't really have a really great rogues gallery.
yeah,
I thought it was really cool. I just the thing that messed it up for me is I just thought their motivations were just, I don't know. They just it wasn't interesting to me what they were trying to do. They were, yeah, they all had such weird different motivations, like all three of them.
yeah.
Um that Yeah, I'll get to that as we talk about the movie more, but I liked them. I just didn't really like their motivations, but their lore and their all that was really interesting to me.
Definitely, yeah. Um, so Daughters of Atlas. Um, I liked moving on from the Daughters of Atlas. Um, compared to the first Shazam movie, I thought that I prefer the second one over the first one. I still love the first one, but I just feel like the second one has like something more to it. There's like more like better family dynamics. We see more of his foster brothers and sisters, which I really liked. We get more screen time with Mary, which I liked a lot. Um, I did see something that Pedro and Eugene, they had their own little character development scenes in the movie that got cut out for time reasons. So hopefully, when the movie does release,
We
it
get,
actually
yeah.
releases next month on digital. Surprisingly, so hopefully there's like some like extra bonus scenes or like an extended edition um, to see what those scenes were. But I thought that what they did with the Shazam family was really well done. I liked how in the beginning we see them having their own secret code to like whenever something happens, um, they go out and say Shazam and fly out to the bridge,
I love
and
that. Yeah,
that was I like that the wasn't I Need a Hero song like
I love
playing in the
that song.
background.
Ever since Shrek 2, I love that song.
Yeah,
So I love
I
that scene.
yeah I thought it was a great scene. We see we still see like how unique each of the characters are and like how they are. We see like Darla, geeking over like about like a little basket of kittens. We see Freddie, with two girls, and like you guys should hold on tight. Essentially, we see Eugene trying to fuse like the cables on the bridge together with his electricity power. We see Pedro, holding up the bridge, and Mary saving all the civilians. It's just nice seeing how each of them function individually as a team, and but obviously doesn't really work out at the end because they failed to save the bridge. They saved
That
everyone,
part was funny. Yeah,
but they failed to save the bridge. And I loved how they do like a NFL recap afterwards,
yeah,
and with like the NFL song. I thought that was great, but you each of them have like their own different priorities in a
yeah,
sense.
yeah, yeah. Their interests.
Yeah, because especially with Mary, because as I said earlier, we get much more Mary, and we see how she decided not to go to college. Essentially, she didn't go to college and just stayed home, worked, and obviously be uh, part of the Shazam family. And we see her kind of like regret on doing that. Something that I really like is the little subplot of Billy being afraid of growing out of the foster system and being afraid that he's gonna get kicked out and like left again because that's like part of his trauma, being left behind, discarded by the people he cares about and stuff like that. So that was like a nice little subplot in the movie that I wish we got a little bit more fleshed out. But from what we got, I did appreciate it. Were there like any like scenes in general that you appreciated a lot from the movie compared to like the first movie?
probably the scene you were just talking about. Um, I love that scene. I love the song that went with it. Um, I guess my favorite scene is we'll talk about it in a minute. Like it's towards the end of the movie, but one thing I'll say about the movie that I loved was I thought I don't know his name, the actor that plays Billy. Billy acts a lot more like what Shazam acts when he's Billy, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
Like in the
I get.
first
Yeah,
movie, I didn't think they acted like each other all that much. It was my main kind of complaint about the movie was I thought Billy was more like, Shazam is very, he's jokey, he's making all the corny kitty jokes, but Billy wasn't like that. In this movie, we don't get to see Billy near as much, but when we
yeah,
do, he acts like how he acts when he's Shazam. Like I bought that they were the same person. You know what I mean?
mhm,
So that was, I think, my highest praise for the movie is I liked Billy acts like Shazam, Shazam acts like Billy. I buy that they're the same guy.
yeah, definitely. Um, a nice little tidbit that I liked was in Billy's dream where he's on a date with Wonder Woman. I liked how they played on the gag of like showing like everything like the whole head to toe of the hero but not the face.
Yeah,
Because like I know at least when I saw the first Shazam movie, I've been hearing like rumors like Superman might make an appearance, like they might get and stuff, so on and so forth. And then when Superman made an appearance at the end, I was like, oh my god, Superman! Like he's like Henry Cavill's making an appearance, but like it shows him from like the neck down, and I was like, what? So
oh god, you just reminded me of one of my least favorite parts of the movie. I actually forgot about it, dude. It's almost like it felt intentional. They talk about every member of the DCU except Superman.
yeah,
And dude, Freddie and Billy are huge Superman fans.
yeah,
And it just felt really weird. I didn't like that at all. Like it
yeah.
actually annoyed me. I forget. I think it's when he's doing the
The therapy session with his
therapy
pediatrician.
session.
Yeah,
I was like, how is he not gonna I don't know. It that's just a whole DCU thing though. It just
yeah,
feels very James Gunn or somebody had to go and talk to the director and say like don't say Superman. Like that
yeah.
I don't believe that that's how the director or whoever wanted it to be. Because in the
That's
first
true.
movie there's so much they bring out the bullet that hits Superman or
Yeah,
whatever and
and there's like the newspaper of like Superman's silhouette. He just always talks about Superman, but in this one he mentions Aquaman, the Flash, Batman, no Superman at all.
it was
Um,
very odd. I did not like that.
yeah. Um, what's something else that you liked about the movie?
Um this is kind of just I'm just going to get this out the way because it kind of ties into all my thoughts of the movie. My like kind of broad overall thought is this movie very much encapsulates all of my thoughts on the DCU, where it's got such great moments and it's got the characters are so great. Um, at least like the Shazam family and all them, they're so great and they have so many great moments. And there's really like emotional moments in here
Yeah,
that I was surprised, like really hit me. Um, but just like a lot of the movies in the DCU for me, it's really the story and the plot that just completely loses me sometimes. It's not bad in this movie. Like there's good moments, but I really really liked so many moments and so many character interactions, but the story lost me a lot of the time. That's just kind of how I feel about most of the DCU, where like, oh, I'm like that actor is so good in that role, or that had such a good moment, like. But then I'm like, the story as a whole just doesn't really encapsulate me. That's kind
yeah,
of how I feel.
yeah. I understand. Because when I first saw like the movie, obviously, I was telling you like I loved it. I was
Yeah.
like, I loved it so much. Um, and then I started seeing other people's like reactions to the movie. Um, critics wise, not doing so hot. Obviously, box office wise, is doing really bad. Um, I I kind of want to see people's legit criticisms on the movie. Um, there were some things where I agreed, like you said, like the story was kind of like it was like okay, nothing too like grand, kind of cliche type stuff. Um, and then there's some things where some people didn't like the villains, and from another person's perspective, I can see why, because they're kind of like, the usual wants to take over the world, power villains essentially. Personally, I the way they went that route with these villains, I liked. Um, I liked how each of them have different motivations that kind of like mess up with their own plans. Like with
Yeah,
uh, Helen Mirren's character, I forget what her name is. Hespera, I think.
I do not know their names. I do not know their names.
I'm gonna just wing it. Hespera, how she just wanted uh, her father's power back and
Yeah,
wanted to regrow like the Greek god pantheon, essentially. That's her motivation. Calypso's Lucy Liu's motivation is to get revenge on the humans for taking what was theirs, and then grow the world, their world on Earth, as like a payment of from what they did. Because we see earlier in the movie how it was explained during like when we're getting more lore out of the two villains, how the gods viewed humans as slaves. So she kind of more encapsulates that aspect of the god pantheon. And Anne's character, the younger one, she was just there.
I
Um,
hated her. I hated her,
there,
and it's
there
not
was
even because of her motive. Oh my god, just
yeah,
why? Ugh, she frustrated
like
me.
she, out of the three sisters, she was my least favorite. The thing I didn't like the most is her relationship with Freddie just feels incredibly forced. Their first interaction just felt super forced. Um, I didn't. Her powers were cool. Don't get me wrong. Her powers
They were
were really
very cool.
cool,
They were very
very
cool.
cool. Um, but like her purpose in the movie, I her only purpose in the movie is like just like to be like the love interest of Billy, and like
You mean Freddie?
going against the sisters to help the Shazam family go and trying to defeat her. That seems like her only purpose. Um,
But she completely screws over Freddie. Like
yeah,
she turns him in to her sisters basically, and then at the end she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and then they're like dating, and also she's
yeah,
6,000 years old, and it just
yeah. It's like, um, no offense to the actress at all. This is
no,
like
yeah, it
not
wasn't
her
her
fault at all.
fault.
But just like that was one. That's one of my main like gripes with the movie is like her forcefulness, like for like her and Freddie being in a relationship just felt very forced for like my two viewings of it. Um, her powers are cool, but yeah, there was something else I want to talk about. There were some jokes that I really liked in the movie. I liked how in the Rock of Eternity, where it's just Billy, or it's just Shazam and Mary talking, and Mary just like saying like, "I know why you're afraid of like me going to college, or just the thought of me going to college because like you're afraid that you'll start losing people and like stuff like that." Um, and then Shazam was talking about something like, "What do you mean you work?" And then he keeps comparing her with Wonder Woman, saying like Wonder Woman like doesn't work. And the
Yeah,
thing that I like the most, was like saying like Shazam says, "What do you think Wonder Woman does? Do you think Wonder Woman puts on a pair of glasses, has a ponytail, and works as an accountant? No." And I thought it was funny because that's exactly what she does in the comics.
yeah.
I thought it was really nice, like on like a little on the nose thing. The original Shazam from the 1970s, the TV serial, made a cameo in the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was the one. He was the older guy in like the red
Oh,
shirt
he's
with
the
like
one that
the
said Captain Marvel or whatever. Okay.
yeah. And when I saw that, I was like, "Oh my god, it's the original Captain Marvel! It's the original Shazam!" I thought it was really cool. Um, and the other one is in the post credit scene, so we can talk about that later. It's a nice joke. Um, we'll just get to it when we talk about the post credit scenes. But there were jokes that I thought landed pretty nicely.
I thought
Obviously,
more
there
landed than didn't,
definitely, yeah. What
except for
else?
this one that I hated.
Oh, I gotta hear it. What was it?
This actually may have been my least favorite part of the movie. We see a unicorn, and this unicorn is about to attack.
Yeah.
And she gives the unicorn Skittles. I was like, is this an advertisement? I was like, is this a brand deal?
And
And
then
the
she says
unicorn,
the title of like the brand of Skittles, Taste the Rainbow.
yeah, and then she goes, taste the rainbow, mother, and then it like cuts. I was like, what is this? What is happening? Why are these unicorns eating Skittles?
And
It's
I like it how they essentially compared Skittles to ambrosia.
yeah, what?
Saying
forgot.
saying the Skittles are the equivalent of the nectar of the gods. So it's pretty nice product play. It's clever product placement.
I guess so.
But it is a ridiculous part. Was there anything else that you didn't like about the movie?
I mean, I said like my main complaint, just kind of like, I don't mind that the sisters' motivations were all different. That's kind of cool, but I don't know, just like the way the story was going, like she plants the tree, and and then like I actually all the like creatures, the mythological creatures, was really cool. I liked seeing all that, but I don't know, just the plot in general just didn't really have me interested. That was my main complaint. Was just the plot, the story, all of that. I wasn't interested in that. What kept me interested was the characters and the moments between them. That's what made this movie for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Definitely with my second viewing, I decided I put more attention to like the characters rather than the plot.
Yeah.
And it was still a lot of fun. I liked it a lot. My question is like, in the first Shazam movie, we see the wizard going like turn to dust, and then we see Shazam, like the wizard Shazam, in this like full form. I don't know if they explained it in the movie or I missed it both viewings. But do you remember like anything like them explaining like how he's like back to his physical form or anything like
No,
that?
I didn't get that at all. I didn't know how
Yeah.
he was back, but he's
I don't, yeah,
back.
I don't, yeah. Somehow he returned. Yeah.
Yes, somehow the wizard returned.
That's basically the vibes I got from it.
You reminded me of one funny joke that I really liked was they kind of explained how the staff got to that museum, and
Yeah.
it's the Shazam family talking, and they're like, "Well, what'd you do?" And it shows the scene from the first movie, and he snaps it, and they're like, "You just left it there?" Like, I thought that was funny, and he's like, "Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought like." So there were like a lot of funny moments. Like there were a lot of good jokes. Can't remember them all off the top of my head, but like
Yeah.
that one, pretty much everything like on that bridge scene. There's a lot of good parts, a lot of good scenes. I thought the scene of them, because they get their powers stripped from them, all the kids except Billy. The scene of them going through the streets in a van with literally deadly mythological creatures was kind of dumb. Like I was like, that's really bad parenting. But
Yeah.
I also, in scenes like that, I also am able to understand it's a movie. Like we need, something. So I can let that slide. Like it's really dumb of them, like literal children going up against ogres or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
But I can let that slide. I know it's entertainment at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So
Definitely. One last thing about the main movie that I do have to say is, I think we touched upon it a little bit earlier, but just whenever it needs to be serious, it's serious. Like
true. Yeah.
there's no like cutting off with a joke or like a quip or whatever. The only one I can think of is like the first part where like I said, Shazam and Mary just talking about Billy's fear of abandonment essentially, and then when Mary's saying nothing lives forever or nothing lasts forever, essentially she walks off. Billy makes like this slight joke of like, I mean, we're literally sitting in a place called the Rock of
Yeah.
Eternity. That almost lost me because I thought it was gonna be like a nice serious tone of it, but like the way he said it was it's
Yeah.
still he's like trying to cover it up,
Kind of
but
trying
he's
to
still, like,
cope. I like that.
but he's still like, you can still like hear it how like he's still like upset about it, how he doesn't want let to let things go essentially.
The
Um,
scene of, I forget her name, but the mom, where she's like, "Let me see Billy." I thought
yeah.
that scene was really emotional. Kind of caught me off guard. And then what I think is my favorite, but I'm torn about it, is the ending where, spoilers, he
Hmm.
dies.
Yeah.
Um, that was my favorite part, dude. That was like emotional.
Yeah, it was really tough.
I was surprised how like much I was like, whoa.
Yeah. It does good when it gets emotional. It really does. The fact that like he dies and like there's like all that emotional tension and he gets like brought back to life.
That's what I
That
was.
that aspect I can understand like how he could get resurrected by like only like a god essentially. It's not like some like cheesy knockoff where like he's actually like was like in a catatonic state. He was actually in a coma, but he was actually dead, and the only way to resurrect him is with a touch of a god. Essentially, we get that. I like how it tried to be unique with it, but it's also the fact of like the death cop out thing. I would have been way more upset if they just killed him off. But even then, like you know,
I think because it really it felt significant. I guess if I were to have done it, I think I would have made it seem like they killed him off in this movie, just to like have like it mean something, him
yeah,
dying. Like, see the characters affected, see Freddy, see the whole family affected. And then obviously this is tough to say because the whole thing's changing, but let's say I'm in charge. Then in a future movie, maybe not even a Shazam movie, they find a way to resurrect him. Like, that's another thing where I just think it reminds me of the DCU as a whole. I feel like we're rushing deaths and resurrections. Superman.
yeah,
Like
yeah, definitely.
like I don't know. Let him have that moment of like it affect it. They let it go on for a while at least. Like, it felt for a minute in that theater. I was like, is he like dead?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I'd like to talk about that for a second too. Transitioning to not with the movie, but with the marketing of this movie. My biggest gripe with it. I don't know if you saw it before the movie, but there was a TV spot for Shazam that completely spoiled
yeah.
Wonder Woman's appearance. And it might not seem like a big spoiler, like, oh, she makes a cameo, who cares? But when he dies, I was saying, like, wait a minute, where's that Wonder Woman cameo? And I was like, and then like they go to like the same like area where we see Wonder Woman in the TV spot. And I was like, she's gonna resurrect
Yeah.
Shazam, and like it's so infuriating because even like the actor of Shazam, Zachary Levi says like the marketing was not it. It was not it,
Yeah.
and like just to spoil like a big cameo in the movie was just like probably like one of the worst decisions they can make. And like people complain about trailers showing a little bit too much. I know people were complaining about that with the Batman vs Superman trailer with Doomsday, Thor Ragnarok with Thor's hammer getting destroyed, and so on and so on.
No Way Home.
But and Noah help me, yeah. But I think this is the most egregious like act of like spoiling a movie for to promote the movie.
Yeah,
It's
it's bad. I don't think it's as bad. Nothing will beat No Way Home for me, but because like I don't know if you know, they were originally going to make the promotional stuff make it seem like it was a civil war in a sense between Spider-Man and Doctor Strange,
oh
and that would
really?
have been
Hmm.
so much better.
Yeah, definitely.
But they have to make money and they have to show. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, it is bad. I get what you. I actually didn't have that thought. Surprisingly, I should have, but I thought she was going to be an after credit scene. I thought that's
Right.
what that was. Um, I agree. I unfortunately that's just kind of how it is nowadays with showing stuff
Yeah.
off in trailers. I hate it too. I hate it. I hate
Yeah,
spoilers of any kind.
me too. What was it? Funny enough, the for almost every superhero movie that came out, going a little off topic, for every superhero movie I've ever seen, the earliest I can remember was with Batman vs Superman. Ever since then, every single superhero movie was spoiled for me. in some way or
in
fashion.
some way.
Yeah, because like I know with Endgame, the day I was watching Endgame, I was off all social media. I was not on Twitter, Instagram, or anything like that. And then my friend, out of nowhere, I haven't talked to him in months. He's like an old friend. Just texts me, Iron Man dies. I was
Why
like,
the hell did he do that?
you
Cut
have to
that
be
friend
kidding.
off.
I was like, what? You have to be joking. I was like, no, there's no way. And same thing with like the Batman and Superman when I got spoiled at how Superman dies. I was foolishly looking through comments and I saw it said
Yeah.
Superman dies. I was like, Superman's not gonna die. You know, and then I started thinking about it, I was like, is he gonna die? Like, I don't know. And then I saw the movies and I was like, oh, he's gonna die.
Yeah, Doomsday. Oh, he's dead.
Yeah. But there was one thing I wanted to talk about with like when it gets serious in Shazam. Two more things. The one where we see Calypso basically telling not Billy, Freddy's like teacher to like jump off the cliff or something like that.
Oh, dude.
That was brutal.
I forgot about that. Oh my god.
That scene was brutal because like I was thinking like, oh, someone's gonna like one of like the Shazam's family's got to swoop in and save him. And I'm like, oh, this will be fine. But then no, he jumps off and you hear the splat.
I forgot about that scene, dude. I literally like
You see
I
like
was
the
like,
horror.
whoa, what the
Yeah. And you see the horror in Freddy's face. Like, why would you do that? And like, just because it's not just a random teacher. It's like a teacher who like protects Freddy essentially. Yeah. He's like, he protects him from the bullies. And then seeing that, protective figure just like be like mind controlled and jumped on and kills himself essentially was like, it was really dark.
That was really dark. I forgot about that scene.
And like, that's the one thing I appreciate with like the Shazam movies, how like it's also a criticism among people how like it has like very drastic tonal shifts throughout the movie. But whenever it gets dark, it doesn't like do a cop out saying like the superhero saves like the person or whatever. It does like what needs to be done essentially, and it's brutal. There's one part where I really wanted to be fleshed out a little bit, and that's when we see Freddy and the Wizard Shazam and the little K thing before like, the dragon comes out, where Freddy says like he only jokes around to hide how broken he is, and I didn't like how we just glossed over that. Yeah, like, it was touched upon, but it was never talked about. I would have really loved to see more of that because we always see like Freddy joking around, quipping and like stuttering and all that stuff, making a fool of himself essentially. And just him saying that with like that really serious face of like, dread essentially because they're about to be eaten by a dragon. I wish that we touched upon that a little bit more. If we get a third Shazam movie, hopefully we get talked about more. I really hope we get a third Shazam movie. But with the way that this movie's going, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, I guess we can talk about the after credit scenes now because it leads right into that, where I was surprised by these because it's two setups, and with the new DCU, it's just so hard to. I don't know, like. But yeah, you can talk about the first one because I know
it's the first one. Oh, so this is what I'm like begging James Gunn to like let it come through, like let it happen. We see Harcourt and Economos from Peacemaker essentially, going to Shazam and recruiting him for the Justice Society, but Billy doesn't know that's the Justice Society because when Harcourt says like we want you to join the Justice, and then Billy just cuts her off like yes, a million times yes. I always want to do this, and she was like okay, welcome to the Justice Society, and Bill's like what? Like oh, there's two different Justice teams, and she's like yeah, and they're totally different, and Bill's like well I want to be the one where Wonder Woman is, yeah, and then she was like whatever, I'm out of here. So it's that part where like she said like the Justice Society, I was like gasped. I was like begging because I like the Justice Society is my favorite like superhero team all time, and I loved their presence in Black Adam. Is it was the main reason why I went to see Black Adam. It's just to see Hawkman, Doctor Fate, Atom Smasher, Cyclone, those like JSA members, and just having them with Shazam, my favorite superhero team, with my second favorite hero, mixed with my first favorite hero, all in one team. I was, I was shaking of how like excited I am. But then I was like, wait a minute, I don't want to get too excited because
Don't yeah, because
if it doesn't happen, like I'm gonna be like a wreck.
but like I would just be surprised if I don't know, like I'm sure James Gunn knew about these post credit scenes. Like I feel like if this isn't in his plan, he would just say, "Hey, don't put that post credit scene in the movie." Like it seems weird that they would have that post credit scene there and then they don't do it. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like
yeah, and especially with two characters who were in two, or he was in, they were in James Gunn projects,
mhm.
because the Economos and Harcourt were in Peacemaker, and obviously Peacemaker was in the Suicide Squad from James Gunn. Um, so it does beg the question, since those are James Gunn characters, um, does that like mean that like Shazam is A, still in DC continuity, B, that like Zachary Levi Shazam is still in like in the new DC continuity, or like C, like they're actually gonna go forward with the JSA, a JSA project of some sorts, because we did I did see um James Gunn just randomly posting like pictures of like different JSA members. I know there's one where he just posted a picture of Mr. Terrific, might be teasing something with Mr. Terrific, because even with like all the projects he already announced, he said that like those are like half, if not less than half, of what Phase One or Chapter One of the
Yeah,
DC universe is going to be.
he did
So
say
we
that.
still don't know like in the full scheme of things. And if they start off with like a JSA movie instead of a Justice League movie, I'll be more than happy.
I think they should. I think the Justice League needs to be fleshed out. We need
Definitely.
some solo movies. We need some time. Like, do the JSA instead. It's
I
characters
hope.
the casual audience does not know about for the most part. So
Yeah.
that's, I think, a movie you could kind of just quickly do a JSA movie and not have to flesh it out too much so that people get to know these characters. Then you can do the solo movies. So I think that's a good idea.
Hmm.
I will say one thing I'm slightly worried about for the future is how they'll do Shazam with the actor for Billy literally growing up. I mean, he's like 20 now.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they're going to do that.
Um, I mean, it still could work. Um, it still could work in a sense. But I feel like if he gets to the point where he's too old and like too close to like Zachary Levi's age, then they could. It was something that I had in mind. Like they just like keep him in like Shazam form, like at all
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
That's like my like theory on like how they could do it. Which it sucks because like I really like the actor who does Billy. He does a great job, and just to have him completely sidelined just for the fact he's getting older, it
Yeah.
sucks.
It
But
does,
like,
but
you know,
I could see them recasting Billy and making him like a young kid and just kind of
yeah.
that wouldn't be that bad of an idea for the DCU since it's already being a little rebooted. Maybe
Hmm.
put a real young kid in there, just kind of ignore the fact it's a different guy.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know.
definitely. Um, there was something else. Oh, um, and the two things. So to go off more of the like the setting up the Justice Society movie first, then the Justice League. It also works really well with the fact that in the Justice League comics, at least from like Jeff Johns' run of JSA, the JSA were inspirations for the Justice League essentially, because like each of the Justice League members, like Superman, Batman, all of them, all say that like they're inspired by these heroes, like the older heroes of yesterday, essentially, and like that's what like they kind of base their morals off of, like the Justice Society. So it'd be nice to see like them talk about like how the Justice League was inspired by the Justice Society, essentially, and
Yeah, that'd be really
how
cool.
yeah, I hope they do that. But then again, they both already kind of coexist together. We see that in uh just like them saying how like they already exist and there's two different teams essentially. Um, Last thing, because I'm going on a ramble right now. Um, the joke at the end of the first post credit scene I loved, where it says like Billy's trying to figure out different words for different synonyms for justice. So he was like goes like, and then he lands on the Avengers Society.
Yeah, I think he says the Avengers League. Okay,
Yeah,
this joke is getting ripped apart online. I thought it was funny. I thought it was
really?
yeah, people don't from what I see, people don't like it.
What?
People think it's dumb. I thought it was really funny.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious because like they like in the at least in the comics they always like talk about like each other's like universes all the time, and then I know they did it for Eternals where one of the kids says to Icarus, "Are you Superman?" And
Any
like
I'm a sucker for anything where DC makes not really a jab, but like a somewhat of a joke with Marvel or
yeah,
Marvel. I'm a sucker for that. I just think any kind of
yeah,
crossover stuff I always find fun. So
yeah, it's always a good time. Did you want to talk about the second post credit scene?
yeah, I mean, it's basically just the first movie's post credit scene part two.
Yeah. Um, it felt like a little joke because how like Mr. Mind says like my plan's like coming to fruition, but I have one more thing to do, and then Mr. Savannah, Dr. Savannah's like, what? You're like, oh god damn it, and just cuts off.
Yeah. Do you think they're gonna? I mean, I guess if there's a Shazam 3, maybe they're the villains.
We know one thing. G- Given the out like the current state of Shazam, there's a lot of drama going on right now that we will lightly touch upon, but not going fully in depth. Um, we might not get a Black Adam versus Shazam, at least currently.
Doesn't seem so.
Yeah, no, not at all. But it would really work if they do Shazam versus Mr. Mind and the Monster Society of Evil, um, because oddly enough, I remember seeing something how like Mr. Mind is like one of like the most powerful like entities in like the universe essentially, and it's really weird, and it'd be really a fun thing to explore because he's literally a worm, a little caterpillar, but him having like some like super vast and powerful uh intelligence, and like he has to talk through like this like little communicator thing, and like him bringing like the Monster Society of Evil, like these ridiculous characters from different realities. It'll be. I feel like it'll be a lot of fun to do that, and like it could be like at the third act where Mister Mind transforms into this big like Godzilla type of monster, because that's what he does in the comics.
Really?
He like evolves into like this huge like Godzilla monster essentially, and that would be amazing. It will definitely be like a lot of fun to do.
For sure.
That's what I'm
I'm
hoping
down for
for.
that for
Yeah,
to complete the trilogy.
and like the overarching thing of Mister Mind got trying to conquer the nine magic lands. So
Yeah. Damn, so he's basically like Malekith from
basically, yeah,
um as far as the Black Adam thing goes, I if they were to keep Zachary Levi as Shazam, and again, if I was in charge, I would recast Black Adam and
oh yeah,
have the two
for
of
sure,
them. Like,
for sure.
I actually am a big fan of The Rock as a person. I think he's a
Yeah, me
charismatic
too.
guy. But first of all, I thought his Black Adam, he's just The Rock playing a superpowered a
Yeah,
superpowered rock.
yeah,
Like and I don't have a problem with that. It was fun in a
it
sense,
was a lot of fun. Yeah,
but he clearly does not know Black Adam is.
Yeah,
Like,
no, not at all.
he wants him to go up against Superman, and I would like to see The Rock against Superman. I would like
Yeah,
to see that. But we have to see Shazam versus Black Adam too. Like, that's Shazam's main villain. It is like his
yeah,
villain. Captain Marvel or whatever you want to call him. That's his villain. So I, the it's tough to like really, we don't know the inner workings of, all this, but I guess from what I understand, the rumors are The Rock wants nothing to do with Shazam. He wants nothing to do with it, and that's just not okay.
yeah. It doesn't make any sense. It
It's
does not make any sense at all. It's just like
he's just
have,
he's a blockbuster guy.
yeah,
He wants blockbuster, and I do agree. Seeing him against Henry Cavill's Superman would be blockbuster in a sense, but
oh yeah,
it doesn't fit the character he's playing. He has to go.
not at all. No, and it's kind of like saying how it's kind of like in the sense of like having a Venom movie and having zero interaction with Spider-Man, like how it is right now.
How
With
it
like
is now,
Venom.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's so bizarre. And like at least for like the Joker movie, we see the setup for Batman. Granted, we might not see it because it's his own thing, but we still see Thomas and Martha Wayne. We still see Bruce Wayne, the
Yeah.
death of the Waynes. We still see all of that, but we still know it's Joker's story essentially. And with The Rock refusing, because like the post credit scene with Henry Cavill Superman and Black Adam facing off each other was originally supposed to be Shazam and Black Adam, but The Rock said no, no,
No.
no, not at all. No, I want Henry Cavill Superman versus me, and he didn't want any association of Shazam and the Black Adam movie. And in turn, he did not want any Justice Society members to be in the post credit scene for Shazam, nor did he want to cameo in Shazam himself.
Yeah, it makes no sense. I, from what I understand, I haven't read too much stuff that has Black Adam in it, but I do know that Black Adam and Superman do have somewhat of a history. Like they have
Yeah,
fought a good bit, so like he's not completely off with that. But if he truly is saying like I want nothing to do with Shazam, I don't want to be in Shazam, I don't want Shazam to be in my movies, then we have a huge problem. That's like
yeah,
that's
a
not
huge logical problem.
yeah. That's someone who clearly doesn't care about the character he's playing. He cares about
yeah,
him and how he's, which I don't think he's wrong for like himself, but if you're going to play a part in a bigger universe, you have to,
yeah,
it's not just you anymore. It's the DC universe. So,
yeah, and just the added fact with like all this like being like spelled out and like all these rumors and the fact that Zachary Levi posted it on his story saying like the truth shall set you free, basically confirming everything. Because we are, I guess we were wrong in a sense. We are getting Shazam versus Black Adam, but more in the real life sense rather than
real life,
in
yeah.
the and then rather than like in the cinematic sense. So it's interesting to see that, and I wonder how The Rock will respond to all this criticism, because we also see like a lot of people are putting the blame fully on The Rock, which I don't agree with at all. Granted, like, and when I mean like putting the blame on him, I mean like, putting the blame on him in the sense of the Shazam's success or lack thereof in the box office.
I think there's a pretty obvious reason it's failing, and that's because they literally announced that they're pretty much rebooting the DCU.
Yeah,
Like, why would you want to go see the movie now? You know what I mean? Like,
because like, there's a lot of questions with it too.
why would you be interested in this movie if, I mean, he may come into the new DCU, but for most people, they're going to be like, oh, they're rebooting. Like, who cares? Like,
Yeah,
I think that's why no one's going to see it.
And like for like a casual audience, like an audience who doesn't read the comic books or they just want to see these movies for fun, is just gonna get a lot more confusing for them because it's already confusing for like the fans, like the comic movie fans and the comic fans. It's already confusing as is because like we don't know like what's gonna stay, what's gonna leave, like
Yeah.
what's gonna happen because all we got are like um whatever James Gunn like debunks on Twitter or whatever he says on Twitter versus what he announces as a slate. We don't know. So there's a lot of factors going on with like Shazam not doing so well. Plus with the fact that like it came out a week before Dungeons and Dragons, John Wick Chapter 4, and like,
Creed.
just like with in Creed, and just like the prices of tickets alone. Because when I got my John Wick Chapter 4 tickets for tomorrow, it was damn near $20 for a standard like it wasn't an IMAX 3. It was a regular seating. It was $18.
I saw a TikTok about that recently, and it's like this guy's like got a wife and maybe like two kids. I don't know. He's like, to go to the movies nowadays, like
Yeah,
it's
it's
like almost $200 if you're going with your family because the tickets, and then if you want to buy candy, it's like $20 for a box of Junior Mints. So
yeah.
yeah, I mean and it's coming out digitally soon. So
It doesn't help it at all because people are like, oh, we just wait till it comes out digitally, and
yeah,
like
I
it
think the
just
main
hurts the movie.
factor, I think the main factor is the DCU reboot, but the DCU reboot with all those things we already said all piled into one. Yeah, there
Yeah,
was my theater was like really empty. And
yeah,
I
my
saw it
yeah,
opening weekend. I saw it opening weekend.
yeah. Like I saw mine opening night, Thursday night, and I saw it 2 days ago, 2 or 3 days ago. Both were like we were basically empty,
Yeah.
and like it's sad because like I'm a huge Shazam fan, and like seeing like not like a lot of people are talking bad about Shazam, and like just all of a sudden we get all that like bad talk about not only Shazam for like the movie, but like Shazam as a character. Because a lot of people are now comparing Captain Marvel versus uh Marvel's Captain Marvel, like saying like, oh,
Whoa,
Captain.
whoa, whoa,
Yeah,
whoa,
I
whoa.
just saw that. I was like, talk to me when your Captain Marvel can do this, and it shows a clip of Carol Danvers like in space shooting beams. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? What are you talking
Don't even
about?
bring
I'm
up
like,
that movie. Don't
yeah.
even.
I'm like, it's just something like the fans are like it's getting more and more tiring to be a fan because you see with every like release of like a comic book movie we see like this like super like toxic discourse about Marvel versus DC and which is better, which is worse. um Personally for me, no bias at all. Shazam Fear of the Gods, and then right below, right down here is Ant-Man the Wasp Quantumania. um in my opinion.
I don't know. I think I'd put Ant-Man and the Wasp. I would. I'd put Ant-Man and the Wasp above it because of Kang, but they're not like that far apart for me.
Not really. I see a lot of people saying like they're like, well, then again, there's like a lot of people saying like Ant Man's like way better than Shazam, or Shazam is way better than Ant Man. And like whenever like someone says like I like Shazam better, people will like start gunning for them. Or like, when someone says I like Ant Man better, DC fans, Snyder fans especially, like the toxic Snyder fans starts like gunning for them. And just in general, the toxic Snyder fans just bashing their own properties, bashing
I
every DC movie. And it's like, what are you doing?
I think they are both mid. that's that's what I think about both movies. I guess yeah. I guess okay. To end it, let's give. I don't. We don't have to really rate it. That's what we do with comics. But let's give our final thoughts. What we think. Do we recommend it? All that kind of stuff.
Trying to be as unbiased as I possibly
Be biased.
can.
I say you be biased. Just
Biased,
what are
I loved
your
it.
thoughts? Your
My thoughts, I loved it. I loved the movie. I loved from beginning to end, both viewings. Loved it. I thought a lot of things worked well. There was just very few. There's nothing that I strongly disliked except for like the forcefulness of the relationship between Freddie and
Skittles.
Anne, and and the Skittle Ambrosia allegory right there. Um, I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. A lot of people take superhero movies nowadays too seriously. They always expect it to be
Agreed.
like the Batman level. A lot of people say for Ant-Man, don't take it seriously. Stop comparing it to Avengers: Infinity War. Do the same thing with every superhero movie. Just
I
expect
agree.
how you would expect the movie. Don't expect the greatest superhero movie to ever come out. Just use your own judgment on it. Don't listen to anyone else. Don't listen to the critics. Nothing like that. Don't let anyone else sway your opinion or your desire to see the movie. Go see it because you want to see it, and just base your own opinion on what you personally feel about the movie. Don't let anyone sway you in any way. Um, Especially if you express your opinion online. If people bash you for your opinion, who cares? It's your opinion. Don't change it just to fit in. Have your own opinion and stand
Yeah.
out. It's always better to do that way. I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. And yeah, what about you?
I mean, to bounce off that before I talk about Shazam, I completely agree. Like, there's a Spider-Man comic that I love called Symbiote Spider-Man. It's a miniseries where Mysterio gets like the symbiote attached to him. It's really dumb, but
That sounds like
sometimes,
fun.
sometimes, yeah, that's not everything has to be like this, this masterpiece of a story with,
Hmm.
sometimes there are stuff you can just have fun with. Like I have that Symbiote Spider-Man comic as a 5 star for me, and like, yeah, it's not as like profound as like Craven's Last Hunt, um, or something like that. But not everything is meant to be, this super serious. Some things you can just have fun with, and I think that's what this movie is. I didn't enjoy it as much as you did. Like I said, I think it's mid, but it's character moments and the characters themselves and just some of the dialogue and some of the emotional moments, especially with the death, um, really hit, and they're really fun. And this is a movie, whether you go out and see it in theaters or wait till it's on digital, I think if you enjoy the first movie, you will enjoy this movie.
Yeah,
Like, I would be
definitely.
surprised, even if somebody says they like the first one more, I'd be surprised if someone said, I watched the second one and hated it, but I love the first. I think if you like the first, you will have fun here. So
For
I
sure.
recommend it.
Definitely. And one little tidbit I like to add: a lot of people hated the new suits in this movie. I liked it. People. It's funny because people hated the suit in the first Shazam movie, and now they hate the suit in this Shazam movie, and then they say they prefer the first one over the second one.
I think it's
Make up your mind.
well, true.
Make up your mind.
At the end of the day, I think people are always going to find a way to hate on anything. But
Yeah.
I think it's a downgrade, but I don't think it's like a massive downgrade. I think it
Yeah.
still looks good. I just liked the glowy effect in the
Hmm.
first one.
I missed the hoodie. I missed the hoodie.
Yeah, the
Honestly,
hoodie.
I
Okay.
missed it.
Um, I think it's a downgrade, but it's not like
Yeah.
major. Like I wouldn't like, it's not like as if we went from ASM 2 to ASM 1. Like
Right.
it's it looks good still.
I think they're on the same playing field. Maybe the second suit maybe a little bit lower because of
Yeah,
the hood.
it's like
Yeah.
it's like that.
Um. All right. What are your overall rating of it?
I guess if we're gonna rate it, are we doing stars? Or are we doing out of 10? What are we doing here?
Well, what do we do for the comics? Do we do
Comics, we do stars.
okay for this one? We do out of 10.
Okay, movies will do 10 rating. That sounds good. I would give it a. You go first.
I'll give it an 8 to an 8.5 out of 10.
Okay, I was thinking 6.5 to 7.
That's solid. That's solid.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was our little discussion on Shazam: Fury of the Gods. Now we are transitioning to yet another controversial hot
Oh
take
yeah,
bracket, which I'm very excited for.
I'm excited.
Um, is this our last bracket?
I don't know. I'll have to look. I was gonna do comics after this, but
Okay.
I know there's ones you've read that I haven't, and I have read. So, I'm gonna look into it. I'm gonna try and do a finale next week. So
Awesome.
we'll figure that out. But
Sweet.
um, this week we've got comic villains. I kept it to only Marvel and DC. I was gonna add some Invincible ones. I didn't end up doing it just because I found that there was just more Marvel and DC villains to add than there was heroes. There's just
Yeah.
Just between Batman and Spider-Man alone, like
Yeah.
it was
Insane Rose Gallery.
like, trust me, there is plenty of villains I left out that should be on here, you might say, but this is kind of just who I threw on. Like, this is,
Yeah.
I'm not saying these are the top 64 villains of all time. These are just who came to mind and who I threw on. So, we'll do it how we usually do. I'll put a picture of it if y'all want to fill it out with us. But first, also, as always, randomized seating, and it's not based off power level. I know a lot of people on one of our TikToks thought it was based on.
I had to put a preface of like, guys, just remember, it's not who's gonna win; it's just who we prefer.
Which I do get it, because on a TikTok that you don't hear everything we said before, so I get why they thought we were, because it was Invincible versus Batman. Obviously, Invincible beats. I mean, he just rips.
There are some people who are saying like Batman sweeps. I'm like, yeah, I don't think so, buddy. There's no way.
No, because he's not even like Superman. He doesn't have a weakness. He's just going to kill you.
His weakness is just getting beaten up. That's it.
You can do the things with the ears, I guess.
Oh yeah, yeah. I forgot about that. But that's it. That's about it.
Yeah, he's gonna kill Superman before he can even. I mean, Batman before he can even blink. But also, I have to address this because it's hilarious.
All right.
I think it was our last bracket. I had a very bad.
Yeah.
I had a very bad wording mistake where it was Batman versus Black Canary. And I guess I went to say Black Canary, but then I went to say Batman, and I go Black Man versus Black Canary. And you can even see you go like.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I'll let it slide. I thought I heard it. I misheard it.
That's what I assumed.
Like, that was funny nonetheless.
That was really funny. That was I was editing the video and I like had to replay it. I was like, what did I just say? Like, so, anyways, on to this bracket. We've got
Alrighty.
Electro versus Galactus.
Oh man. It's pretty easy for me. I would have to go with Galactus over Electro. For Electro, I haven't read as much. Well, compared for like I read equivalently as much as for Galactus and Electro. But for what I read for Galactus, I feel like he's a really interesting character.
Mm-hmm.
It's like his backstory is pretty cool. How he's from like the universe prior to the current universe, and how he survived like the contraction of the universe and like, the Big Bang. I thought it was pretty interesting. Yeah, so I have to go with Galactus.
Also, I do want to say, you can pull from anything you want to. So like, I don't know, Amazing Spider-Man 2, that's probably not going to be a big one, but I don't know, like the video games, the movies, the whatever. Like if there's a reason you love that character, like the Mr. Freeze, let's say the Batman Arkham games, he's pretty great there. Mm-hmm. So any reason you can love a character, it doesn't have to be just from comics.
Yep. The
correct answer is Galactus, but but I love Electro.
Okay,
Electro,
okay.
I'd have to really think about it, but he's in my top 3 Spider-Man villains. I don't know why. I love Ultimate Spider-Man's version of Electro.
He's cool, yeah.
Yeah. I love the normal standard Electro. I really like Electro. I don't even know what it is. I always like lightning abilities.
Mm-hmm.
I think his classic, you'll find out as I fill this out, I'm a big fan of how, especially villains, just the appearance, that can make me like a character more than a way better one. Like just how cool they look. And I love his original, with the lightning bolt mask.
That's great.
But he's just in a lot of great stories. I like his personality, his electric personality, whatever. Galactus is the better villain, but I'm gonna go with Electro personally.
Alrighty.
Now we have General Zod versus the Leader.
Pretty easy, just based off Man of Steel. I'm going with General Zod.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with General Zod. It's cool seeing Superman just go up against another Kryptonian.
Yeah.
Just in general, that's cool. Then we've got Brainiac versus Sabretooth.
Yeah, another easy one for me. I'm going with Brainiac.
Me as well. Me as well.
I did hear one of his Sabretooth had a run, like a short run, like 6 or 12 issues a year or 2 years ago. That was actually very good from
Hmm,
what I've heard.
I didn't know that.
So it's definitely something I would definitely look into to get more of a Sabretooth, because the only association with Sabretooth I have is X-Men Origins Wolverine. that
Ooh.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Maybe appearances here and there from House of X, Powers of X, but that's basically it.
Sabretooth is great. He's in Todd McFarlane's short run on Spider-Man. He's really great in there. And also, one of the few key issues I own, I have the first battle between Wolverine and Sabretooth. I've
Ooh,
got that. So
sweet.
I really like Sabretooth, but I just like Brainiac more.
Yeah.
Then we have Ares from DC, because I know there's an Ares in Marvel. The Wonder Woman villain versus Darkseid.
Man, this is gonna be easy for me again.
Yeah,
Give me Dark Side.
same Darkseid for sure. Atrocitus versus Solomon Grundy.
Yet another easy one for me. Give me Atrocitus.
Yeah, I'm also going to take Atrocitus here.
I feel bad because it's just so easy so far.
So far, so far it's easy. Actually, Electro and Galactus was really tough for me, but so everything else very easy.
Yeah.
Now we've got Mephisto versus Mister Freeze.
Mr. Freeze.
This one's tougher. I really like Mephisto, especially through some of the Ghost Rider comics I've read, but
Mhm.
Mister Freeze is just from the Batman animated series alone. He's
Yeah,
also
he's
great in the Arkham
great.
games, but
Yeah.
yeah, Mister Freeze. And then we've got Mirror Master versus Taskmaster.
Now we're getting to like a little more tricky because um I love Mirror Master as a character, especially in the Flash comics. He was in Animal Man from when I read Animal Man. I thought he was great there. He's a very underrated and underappreciated villain, in my opinion. He's a lot more powerful than what people might think because um, he has like the ability to go into any reflection and so on and so forth, and like kind of like disperse his image across like any reflection. As goofy as that might sound, if you, especially Jeff Johns' run of Flash with Wally West, very good villain in that. He's a really good villain. Master. He's also a huge badass because I read him. He was in Moon Knight with Charlie Hutch, I think his name. It's the fact that like he can mimic any character, right? He can
Yeah.
mimic the fighting style of any character, but he fears Moon Knight the most because Moon Knight doesn't block. He like takes the punches essentially, and like he's like so like brutal in his fighting style that Taskmaster is like afraid to fight him essentially.
That's
Um,
really cool.
yeah, and like he has his own miniseries that was also very well received. I've been wanting to read. I think I bought it on my iPad so I can read it digitally. But
I read a miniseries. I don't know if it's the same one. It's called The Rubicon Trigger.
mhm.
Um, that's a very recent miniseries. I think it's by Jed McKay. It's pretty good. It's a fun read.
Yeah, ah, man, I feel like I'm gonna have to go with Mirror Master just for the fact how they utterly butchered Taskmaster and, and Black Widow.
That's a fair reason. That's a fair reason. I'm gonna go with Taskmaster, but I agree. Mirror Master, very underrated. I don't think we should ever see him in live action. He's kind of just I think he's meant for comics and animation.
Yeah,
He's very ridiculous, but that's what makes him so fun in a comic book setting. So
definitely.
I'd love to see him in like an Injustice game, although it doesn't look like we're getting that. Getting Injustice 3.
He wasn't in just the comics, but and I think I don't know what happens to him actually. He was in the comics, but that's about it. Well, from what I remember, I read that a while back ago, but it was pretty cool.
And then to finish off this little section, we've got Baron Zemo versus the Riddler.
It's another tough one. I kind of want to like trying to. I know we can do like both live action, comics, video games, whatever. But they're just both like really like interesting characters to say the least. The Riddler can be goofy. That's like mostly what he is in the comics. He's like goofy, he has like the question mark outfit, but he was really great in the Batman. He was really good, and I like them in Tom King's the War of Jokes and Riddles little storyline.
I haven't read that.
It's basically like the Riddler versus the Joker, and like they have like different Batman villains on each side, and then they just like have like Gotham as like their turf war
I've
area.
heard of that. I want to
It's
read that.
pretty cool. Riddler's demented in that one. Um, Obviously Jim Carrey's Riddler, amazing. He's a really interesting character, and he was in Batman Year Zero from the New 52, which is a really good storyline. Baron Zemo, MCU. I think he's like almost. I'm just thinking about this because that's off the top of my head, but I think he's like my favorite MCU villain.
In Civil War,
He's great.
he's not my favorite, but he like just in that movie might be the best MCU villain. Like I'd still
Yeah,
put Thanos above him, but he's up there. He wins.
yeah. It's really good. I've barely read anything about Baron Zemo in the comics, so just based off like what I've know about each character from both live action, comics, video games, etc., I'm gonna go with the Riddler.
Yeah, there's some really good Baron Zemo moments in that Marvel Avengers show I always talk about, Earth's Mightiest Heroes. He's really great there. I love his like classic comic suit that we,
Yeah,
with the mask. I love that's just a really cool suit. But I'm also going to go with the Riddler.
awesome.
So now I've got Electro versus General Zod, and you've got Galactus versus General Zod.
Give me General Zod.
I'm gonna go with Electro.
Oh no!
I'm gonna go with Electro with
Alrighty, fair
ease.
enough.
Actually, with ease.
Oh, all right, fair
I do
enough.
love
Fair
General
enough.
Zod though. And then now we've both got Brainiac versus Darkseid. This is a cool matchup.
Give me Dark Side, easy, any day. Dark Side.
Yeah, cool matchup because they're both bigger threats, but it's also
Yeah,
not hard for me. It's Darkseid.
yeah.
Um, Now we've got Atrocitus versus Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze,
Yeah, me too.
easy.
I thought you were going to go Atrocitus. I was actually pretty confident you were going to go Atrocitus.
I was thinking for like a fraction of a second. I was like, well, no, that's easily Mr. Freeze.
And then I've got Taskmaster versus Riddler, and you've got Mirror Master versus Riddler.
Give me a Riddler.
I'm going to go with Taskmaster. Beating
Okay.
Riddler.
Oh,
Yeah.
alrighty.
Yeah. For sure. I know Black Widow. I know, but I don't count that. I don't even know it exists. I've never seen that. So now I've got Electro versus Darkseid, and you've got Zod versus Darkseid.
Oh man, gotta go with Dark Side on this one. Easy. Oh, don't do it. No, don't do it.
No. Electro had a good run. He had a good run. He had a good run, but I gotta go with Darkseid. I love Darkseid so much.
He's great.
I don't think we're gonna get to the point where they go up against each other in this bracket, but I will say, like, I'm a Darkseid over Thanos
Oh yeah,
guy here. Like,
same here. Easy.
although like in live action, obviously I'm gonna go with Thanos. Thanos is, but just from like the comics, and I just how Darkseid has the hands behind the like back. I just love how menacing he is. Not that Thanos
Yeah.
isn't, but Darkseid is just more menacing. The Omega beams are so cool.
He's such a badass.
He's more badass than Thanos
Yeah.
is. And Thanos is really badass, but
He is, yeah.
okay, so both got Darkseid going. And then I have Mr. Freeze versus Taskmaster, and you have Mr. Freeze versus Riddler, two Batman villains.
I'm gonna go with Mr. Freeze on this one.
Ooh, okay. Actually, I don't know why I'm thinking about it. It's Taskmaster. It's Taskmaster over Mr.
Okay.
Freeze. Yeah.
What?
Sure.
Over Mr.
Yeah.
Freeze? Oh, man.
Yep. Easy. I love Taskmaster so much.
Surprise cameo for my dog. It was eventual, but here he is.
Oh.
He just woke up from a nap, so. All right. What's next?
The final. This is to see who goes to the final four, I guess. I have Darkseid versus Taskmaster, and you have Darkseid versus Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm surprised by that.
Yeah. It is not only with the fact of like Darkseid just being badass, but there's like the whole concept of like the new gods is like my favorite thing in comics. So go with Darkseid.
Wait, I thought you said Mr. Freeze.
What do you mean?
Wait, who's winning?
Oh, I said Darkseid.
Oh, I swear.
Did
I
I
think
say Mr. Freeze?
You said Mr. Freeze. That's why I was
shit.
acting a little surprised. I was like, you're not picking Darkseid?
Oh, okay. No. Darkseid.
Okay. That's why I was like, what? Maybe I'm crazy, but I think you said Mr. Freeze. But I love Taskmaster, but yeah, Darkseid.
Yeah.
Darkseid wins, yeah, for sure. Darkseid is just—he's too cool. He's too badass. He's too awesome. So now we're starting with the other section of the bracket: Kang the Conqueror versus Dormammu.
I mean, we talked about it in our the King trilogy episodes. If you haven't checked those out, guys, make sure to check them out. Pretty cool.
Do it.
But I'm gonna do it with King the Conqueror.
Kang for me as well. Now we've got Reverse Flash versus Kingpin.
Oh man, it is tough because I just I reread the first couple volumes of Chip Zdarsky's run on Daredevil, and Kingpin's pretty badass in that. The Reverse Flash though, it's tough.
This is a really tough one.
Yeah. Damn. And especially like Kingpin and the Netflix series.
I know my answer, even though this is really, really, really tough. This is the toughest one yet. Kingpin is so badass, and Daredevil is my third favorite Marvel hero, probably my fourth favorite character in comics. I love Kingpin. But I don't know. Reverse Flash is just, he's so cool to me, and he's just, him and Flashpoint especially, like that alone, like I gotta go with Reverse Flash. If Kingpin would have gone up against most of the other villains, he would have won. But
give me Kingpin.
All right,
we're going Kingpin.
I don't blame you. That's a solid. That's just tough. That could go either way, really.
Definitely.
It comes up to probably Flashpoint for me is why Reverse Flash. He's just so. I love him in that story.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have Thanos versus Red Skull.
I'm gonna go with Thanos.
Me too. Thanos. Red Skull's pretty great though. Red Skull's pretty great. Killmonger versus Gorilla Grodd. That's a kind of a cool matchup.
Yeah, it's gonna be easy for me though. I'm gonna go with Killmonger.
Me too. Gorilla Grodd though, again, another really cool villain.
I just think he's goofy.
He is really goofy. He is really goofy, but I don't know. I love his. It's so dumb. I love the whole. I forget what the damn city's called of like the smart
Gorilla
apes.
City.
Gorilla City. I love Gorilla City and just like how ridiculous that is.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I love the whole story of Gorilla City and how he, but as a villain, I'm going with Killmonger.
One of the things that now I don't know if this was Gorilla Grodd or not, but it was a talking telepathic ape. I think it was in the Legends of Tomorrow CW series where a gorilla who talks with this telepathic. I think it's Gorilla Grodd. I don't know if it is, but he goes back in time to kill Barack Obama and make and he says this, and I quote, "Make America Grodd again."
Oh.
I saw it. I was like, "This can't be real. This cannot be real," and it was real. He went back in time to kill Barack Obama,
That show
he,
needs to end now.
he said like he says like Barack Obama, it's almost an honor to kill you or something like that. I'm like, what's going on?
Please don't tell me Barack Obama himself was in the show.
No, he wasn't.
Okay.
He's definitely better than that.
Okay, good.
But oh god, it was so weird. It was so
That
weird.
is, I did not know that, and I wish I didn't. I wish I did know that. But yeah,
It's a hard
Killmonger.
one.
Scarecrow versus Venom. This is very easy for me. And Scarecrow's awesome. Scarecrow's awesome. But Venom, it's
Oh, this is super tough for me. Venom is awesome. I love Venom. I like the Venomnibus. I have like 2 Venom shirts. I love Donny Cates run on Venom. Oh man, I'm gonna go with Scarecrow on this one. I'm going with Scarecrow.
dude. I'm literally reading Rick Remender's run on Venom right now.
Ah, yeah, that's like my favorite Venom run.
My
it's great.
God, it is so
Agent
good.
Venom was so good.
It is so good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that hurts me.
It was bound to happen.
Now we have the Penguin versus the Abomination.
I'm gonna go with Penguin on this one.
Yeah. A lot of these also I really tried to get at least a villain for like each major character. Like I wanted to get, I guess I got 2 of Hulk's Abomination leader, but I tried to like Ares. I tried to get I tried to diversify, not just make it only Spider-Man and Batman. Like for example, here with Crossbones and Doc Ock, I was like, I want to get somebody besides Red Skull that fights Captain America. So Crossbones, Doc Ock. I think this might be the easiest one.
Yeah, give me Doc Ock.
Yeah, Doc Ock. Then we have Bullseye versus Mystique.
I'm gonna go with Mystique on this one.
Yeah, I love Daredevil, and I've had to knock out his 2 villains.
Yeah.
But I also got to go with Mystique. So then we'll go.
This is a
back.
hard one. Oh, okay, going back.
Back up. So Kang versus, for me it's Reverse Flash. For you it's Kingpin.
I'm gonna go with Kang.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I got Reverse Flash beating Kang.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I'm surprised you picked Kang over Kingpin though.
I just feel like there's just like more stuff to not saying that like Kingpin's not like super like layered as a character, but I just really like Kang as like his whole like shtick. I like how he's like a timeline conqueror essentially.
Yeah.
Even like I'm not saying this just for like recency bias, not saying it because like Kang's now like the MCU big bad. I've always been a fan of Kang. I always liked him. I always thought he was a super interesting character. Kingpin I love. He's great. But over Kang the Conqueror, I'm gonna have to go with Kang the Conqueror.
Okay. Fair enough. Then I've got Thanos, or we've both got Thanos versus Killmonger.
I'm going with Thanos.
Yeah, me too. Thanos for sure. Then I've got Venom versus Penguin. You've got Scarecrow versus Penguin.
Another easy one. Give me Scarecrow.
Yeah. Venom beats Penguin for me. And then Doc Ock versus Mystique.
Give me Doc Ock.
Same. Doc Ock.
Yeah.
Now you have Kang the Conqueror versus Thanos. That's a cool matchup. The previous MCU bad versus the new one. And then I've got Reverse Flash versus Thanos.
Yeah, I'm not gonna pretend I'm gonna think about this. Give me Kang.
All right.
Kang.
Actually, I do disagree. It's close for me though. It's very close, that matchup for me. I would go Thanos there, but
okay.
But I'm not going Thanos in my matchup. I'm going with Reverse Flash.
I would too, honestly. Between amongst the two, I would do Reverse Flash.
Thanos is great though. Like I just ordered a Thanos figure to go next to some of my books.
Oh, nice.
I do love Thanos, but I got to go with Reverse Flash. Yeah. Then I've got Venom versus Doc Ock. Yeah, I've got Venom versus Doc Ock, and you've got
Ooh.
Doc Ock versus Scarecrow.
Oh, Scarecrow.
That was easy.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah, mine's easy too. Venom. I mean, Doc
Yeah.
Ock's the more prominent. He's for like unbiased. It's him and Green Goblin,
Hmm.
but I'm going Venom.
Yeah.
And then so I've got Venom versus Reverse Flash, and you've got Scarecrow versus Kang.
Oh, damn.
I can go ahead and say mine because it's
Yeah, you go ahead.
Venom over Reverse Flash. I mean,
That's
no
valid. Yeah,
contest.
I
No
would agree with
contest.
that. Oh man. Um, Give me Scarecrow.
All right.
I'll go Scarecrow.
Okay. I didn't know. I guess I'll ask you. Well, I'll just ask you now. Is Scarecrow your favorite Batman villain?
No, he's.
Okay.
I'd say he's my second favorite. My all time favorite Batman villain. It's not like a singular villain, but it's just like a villain of Batman. I love the Court of Owls.
Okay.
Those are definitely my favorite. I just think it's like super interesting. It's
I
something
did.
new.
I did think of them when making this list, but I didn't put a specific, one of the Talons or
Yeah,
anything.
because there's not really like a main like villain in the Court of Owls. It's just all like
Yeah.
it's like a villain, like like you said, Talon. But yeah,
I haven't read that yet. That's on our wheel, so I'm
yeah,
not reading that
so
until we eventually read it.
sweet.
Now we've got Mysterio versus Bane.
Damn. I'm gonna have to go with Bane. I thought it was gonna be hard at first, but then I remembered Nightfall. Me reading that, I loved it.
Yeah,
Mysterio is also a really cool villain. I loved how he was in Old Man Logan. Um, so cool, but I'm gonna go with Bane. He's just like he's not only like physically imposing, but he's also very mentally and intellectually imposing.
yeah, that hurts me, but I don't. It doesn't like. I get that. I also just read Nightfall this past year, so I get it. I'm going with Mysterio.
Alrighty.
Then we have Apocalypse versus the Joker.
So I have a not a vendetta, but a whenever Joker pops up in any capacity, I roll my eyes because he's so overused, and I think he's very overrated. Um, so with that being said, I'm going with Apocalypse.
No,
I just
I do
wanna,
1,000. I've been preaching this for forever. He is very overused.
yeah.
I've been saying that nonstop. I 1,000% agree. We need to chill with the Joker,
Mm,
especially in like live action. We need a break.
yeah.
Batman literally has probably the best rogues gallery ever. Spider-Man's up there, but it's one or two. I completely agree, but I don't agree that he's overrated. So,
I did see I just watched it yesterday for the first time, Batman 89.
okay.
I loved Jack Nicholson's Joker, but
I
still it's the Joker, so I'm like
I I don't like his Joker.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love this Joker.
I know, I guess maybe I should, but I don't know. I just kind of roll my eyes at his Joker.
I think he's up there. He's definitely up there. I wouldn't say he's like better than like Heath Ledger or Joaquin Phoenix, but he's third. I think he's third.
Oh, if we're
Well,
talking live actions, I
I
would
say
probably
I'll say fourth because Mark Hamill is just like number one, no matter what.
I agree. Mark Hamill's number one.
Yeah,
That's a fact. It's Mark Hamill and Heath Ledger, and then there's a huge, giant, like huge fall for me for all the rest of them.
yeah.
But um, yeah, the Joker for me. Poison Ivy versus now everyone's pronounced it different. Ross or Raish Al Ghul, or however you want to pronounce it. I've always said Ross Al Ghul.
Oh, really?
Um,
I would say Ra's al Ghul.
yeah, I don't know. There's no consensus because I've seen many different Batman stories that are legitimate and they all say it different. But
Yeah,
either way, I'm going with Poison Ivy.
I'm going with Ra's al Ghul.
I get that. I've always really liked Poison Ivy. She's just been interesting. Not just because she's hot, but she is. Let me just say that's not the only reason.
Yeah,
Maybe it may be a reason, but
is that not the main reason?
it's not the main reason. I genuinely just think the whole green thing with
Yeah,
DC is very cool.
definitely.
Oh wow, I didn't even notice that these two were. This is cool. Ocean Master versus Black Manta.
I'm going with Ocean Master personally.
Oh, damn it. I'm a massive Black Manta fan. Massive.
Okay.
I'm just most of my favorite villains are in this section. This is gonna kill me.
Okay.
Black Manta for me. Then we've got Metallo versus Carnage.
Oh, Carnage.
Same. Cheetah versus Deathstroke.
Okay, very easy. Deathstroke.
Okay. I agree. That's Deathstroke for me. He's one of my other favorites.
Yeah.
Doomsday versus Black Adam.
I would go with Black Adam just because he has more substance to him.
I agree.
Doomsday is cool, but he's just there's nothing really much to get off of him. His backstory is really interesting. The Krypton, like how he was like a ancient Kryptonian like experiment. Black Adam's cool. So he has more substance to his character. So I'll go with Black Adam.
Yeah, I got to go with Black Adam. It's kind of tough for me because I just love that. I've read the Death of Superman a lot, not like the whole, because I've got the
Yeah.
omnibus over here and it's giant. But I'm just talking about like that the main story.
Yeah.
I love that the opening panels of it's like Doom and it's like him punching and Doomsday and
Yeah.
But
Fun
Black
fact,
Adam.
I actually have like the first appearance of Doomsday.
Really?
Yeah, first full appearance of Doomsday.
Nice. I have my dad's copy of it's the famous, the Death of Superman, and it's with the flag. I don't know
nice.
exactly. I've got that. It's my dad's copy, so it's really cool.
Cool.
Yeah, I got to go with Black Adam. He's just better.
Yeah.
Then we got MODOK versus Captain Cold.
This is easy one for me. Captain Cold.
Same. MODOK's fun though, and I've seen him in a couple of different things, and he's a fun, goofy villain. But yeah. So then I've got Mysterio versus Joker, and you've got Bane versus Apocalypse.
Give me Bane.
Okay. Agree. Controversial take. I've got Mysterio beating Joker. I know you'll like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got Mysterio beating Joker. And I love the Joker. I love the Joker so much.
I can't relate.
We can at least agree. I really, really, really hope he doesn't show up in the Batman trilogy.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
I don't know if it's gonna be a trilogy, but I hope that's the last we see of that.
Yeah.
Then I've got Black Manta versus Poison Ivy, and you've got Ocean Master versus Ra's al Ghul.
I'm gonna have to go with Ra's al Ghul just because of the what was it? The storyline, like his first appearance. What was it? It's whatever his first appearance was in Batman. He has a whole like his own story arc. I'm gonna try to find it. But I thought it was really good, really cool. I like how he knows Batman's secret identity, but he respects him to such a degree where like he wouldn't do anything about it. Was Daughter of the Demon? Yeah, that whole storyline was really good. I liked it a lot. Um, Ocean Master, I haven't really read a lot other than what was that that little story arc in Justice League 52? Was it Throne of Atlantis? I've read him in Throne of Atlantis and obviously in the Aquaman movie. That's basically all I've got knowledge of Ocean Master. I loved him as the villain in the movie, but Ra's al Ghul, I think he's more of an interesting character, so I'm going to go with Ra's al Ghul.
That's fair. Before, or actually, I don't have Ra's al Ghul, but I'll quickly say about him. He has a really awesome boss fight in Arkham City.
Oh yeah, so sick, so sick.
So yeah, I'll at least say that. But for me, it's very easy. Black Manta over Poison Ivy.
Alrighty.
And then we both have Carnage versus Deathstroke.
Another easy one for me. Give me Deathstroke.
This is really tough. The thing is, I know the answer very clearly, but it's still really tough.
Yeah.
But I got to go Deathstroke.
Sweet. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Still tough. I love Carnage so much, but Deathstroke is just it's another character where I've loved him ever since I've just seen how cool he looks. Just his costume alone made me love him. I really, really love him in Arrow Season 2. I've read some of Christopher Priest's Deathstroke. I actually really didn't like it when I first started reading it, but I've checked it out, and I'm like, you know what? I think this is really awesome. I just kind of I got to come back to it and revisit it. I'm gonna go in for a third time's charm eventually, and I think I'm gonna fully read it then. But yeah. So
right.
Then we both have Black Adam versus Captain Cold.
Give me Captain Cold for this one.
Really?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm shocked. You're going Captain Cold.
Yeah, I just feel like he was so cool and Forever Evil. He was such a badass in Forever Evil. He was also a badass in Jeff Johns' run of The Flash.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's such an interesting character, and like his backstory is tragic, and like I like how him and the Rogues Gallery of Flash have a motto. How like they wouldn't. I like how they have a motto, like a code, where like they are villains, but they wouldn't kill like women or children at all. So I like that. He was cool in the Injustice 2. I liked him. Black Adam, he is also very cool. But I feel like there's more, I guess, more layers to Captain Cold than there is Black Adam, at least to my knowledge. And I think he's a more interesting character, at least.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Captain Cold as well. I guess I just assumed you would go Black Adam, but now I have Mysterio versus Black Manta, and you have Bane versus Ra's al Ghul.
Ew. Damn, this is a tough one. Well, I'll go with Bane.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree. I would go Bane as well there. And I have Mysterio versus Black Manta. Oh, God. I know the answer, but it pains me. It pains me. I love Black Manta, dude. I recently got a custom dust jacket for the Aquaman New 52 Omnibus. Haven't even read it. But I was like, just put Black Manta on the spine. So he's like on the spine. I love Black Manta so much. He's just Black Manta. It's a similar. I love when we get to see like Black Manta's just a guy versus Aquaman, who's literally the king of the ocean.
Yeah.
I just think that aspect of it is really cool. His suit is just so cool. But Mysterio, I got to go with Mysterio over Black Manta. And then we both have Deathstroke versus Captain Cold. Yeah, we both have Deathstroke versus Captain Cold.
I'm gonna go with Deathstroke for this one.
I am as well. I am as well. Yeah. So it ends up with me with Mysterio versus Deathstroke. For you, it's Bane versus Deathstroke. Two Batman villains again.
Deathstroke,
All right.
easy.
I agree.
I think. Well, Bane is more like. I just think Deathstroke's cooler.
Yeah, he's just cooler. He's just cooler.
He's so cool. He's so much cooler.
He's sometimes that's all you need. He's just cooler. Deathstroke is cooler than Mysterio, but Mysterio is better. Yeah.
Okay.
Deathstroke, I'll give it. He is the most. I think he's probably the coolest / most badass villain. Actually, Darkseid's more badass, but Deathstroke is probably the coolest villain on this list. Him and Black Manta for me are the coolest, but I love Mysterio. I just.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
All right, so we've got 3 out of the 4 of our final 4 here.
Alrighty.
Now we go to the bottom half, where it is Gore the God Butcher versus Sinestro.
Damn. Do you have an answer, or are you still thinking about it?
Oh, I know.
you go first then.
Gore the God Butcher.
You can't go wrong with either. You see, these are. Oh man.
You could go wrong.
Yeah. I'll go Gore. I think he's just the fact that he's basically solos Thor from the past, present, and future.
Yeah,
that speaks on its own. So I go with Gore.
Sinestro is great though.
He's amazing.
Great villain, not from the movie, but
yeah.
I guess we never get to see him become. It's in the post-credit scene where he puts on the yellow ring, huh?
Yeah.
So I guess we never get to see.
R.I.P.
And then we have Lex Luthor versus Sandman.
Oh, this is easy for me. Give me Lex Luthor.
I'm gonna pick Lex Luthor, but this is actually really tough for me. I think Sandman is such a great villain. I definitely am gonna go Lex, but Sandman's close for me. Sandman's that like, I don't know, that upper tier of Spider-Man villains is they're just great, that's yeah. He's really great in the Tobey movies, I think.
Oh, I loved him. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, he's what makes Spider-Man 3 a little bit more watchable.
Definitely.
Oh my god, I didn't even see this matchup. Magneto versus Doctor Doom. That is crazy.
It's giving me a headache just looking at it.
Wow.
Well, I don't know, actually. I thought it was going to be easy, but it's not.
I've got my answer.
I think I do have mine, too. As much...
Doom!
Yeah. As much as badass as Magneto is, Doom is just... He's Doom, so... That and the fact that I have 2 Marvel figures of Doctor Doom, regular Doom and God King Doom, and I have 3 different pop figures of Doom, regular Doom, King God Emperor Doom, and infamous Iron Man Doom. So I'm gonna go with Doom.
Wait, so you have the infamous Iron Man Doom, you have the God Emperor Doom figure. Do you have like a normal Doom figure?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna show.
Dude,
I'm gonna show
go get them.
Their poses. This is regular Doom in the flesh.
I think that's okay. Okay.
Very nice and imposing. And then this one's cool. I love this one. God Emperor Doom with Thanos' spine and skull.
Yeah.
Shut off. Look at that. Hopefully, we'll be the main villain in Avengers: Secret Wars.
That would be crazy.
Yeah. Hopefully, we get a scene like this in the movie.
Thanos from
a different timeline getting his spine ripped out. That will be cool. But yeah, Doom easily.
It's in the works. I'll eventually show it off, probably on a little TikTok or something if TikTok doesn't get banned.
That's true.
I'm making a Doctor Doom shelf. I'm gonna have. I already bought 2 of the figures you have there. I bought God Emperor Doom and I bought the normal Doctor Doom, the first one, and then I also have. It's the same like kind of figure. It's the infamous Iron Man Doom, and I'm gonna have the 3 Doom figures, and then behind it, I'm there's a couple different comics I'm deciding between that have really cool Doctor Doom covers. So I'm gonna have a little Doctor Doom shelf.
That's awesome. I'm about to copy that.
Dude, do it. Yeah, Magneto though. Before we kill him off, I think he might have he probably has the best backstory of a villain with the Holocaust and
Yeah.
all of that. So
I mean, both their motivations are basically like the same. They just want the best for their people essentially, but their motives are like very villainous.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, Doom.
It's a tough first matchup for Annihilus versus Harley Quinn.
Oh, give me Annihilus.
Oh wow!
Easy. Okay. I love Annihilus. He's such a cool villain.
He is really cool, but I'm going with Harley Quinn just from the animated series alone. Honestly,
that's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Then we have Ultron versus Loki, two Avengers MCU villains.
Pretty easy for me. Since my favorite Marvel event is Annihilation Conquest, give me Ultron. Yeah. Give me Ultron any day of the week.
I think out of all of these villains, the one where the live action impacts me the most is going to be Loki.
Yeah.
I still love him in the comics, like Thor, Jason Aaron. I haven't read too much. I haven't read any other Thor, but he's great there. So I'm gonna go with Loki. But him in the MCU really helps this choice. Hugo Strange versus Green Goblin. I swear to God.
Give me Hugo Strange.
Oh my God. That's
Hugo Strange. Give me Hugo. I love Willem Dafoe, but give me Hugo Strange. The only reason why I choose Hugo Strange over Green Goblin, I loved him. I love Willem Dafoe's version of Green Goblin, but other than that, he's basically just like Spider-Man's Joker. Give me Hugo Strange.
But he's better than the Joker. He's better.
He is better. He is better than the Joker, but Hugo Strange is one of my favorite Batman stories ever. Is Batman Prey, and Hugo Strange is the villain of that, and he really gets under Batman's skin because he does like a psychological analysis of him, like live TV, and like it really gets under Batman's skin, and like he's very strange. Like no pun intended. He is very strange and very bizarre in Batman Prey, which makes him more of an interesting character.
Out of all the brackets, I think that might be my least favorite choice you made.
Really?
I think so.
All right.
Kraven the Hunter versus Two-Face. Wow, that's tough. I know my answer, but it's still tough.
I'm going with Kraven.
Really? I'm going with Two-Face.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, I like Kraven better.
Kraven's so great. That is really a coin flip for me. Mm-hmm. But I'm definitely going to go Two-Face. It's another one where I've always just thought the design split in half. It's cool. Especially, I love his over-the-top look in like the animated series and
Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, but I like when he's a bit more like ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always just liked Two-Face. Bizarro versus Ulysses Claw to finish out the first round.
It's a little tough for me, not in the sense of like who's better, but like I've barely read any Ulysses Claw.
Same.
The only thing I know, like obviously the MCU. I do remember him from a Fantastic Four comic from like the 60s and 70s. Other than that, there's like I have nothing else on Ulysses Claw, so I'm gonna have to go with Bizarro because I know more of Bizarro than Ulysses Claw. So Bizarro.
I've read some of Christopher Priest's Black Panther run. I haven't gotten far enough. I'm sure he's in it, but I haven't gotten far enough to where Ulysses Claw is in it. I've read the Intergalactic Empire of Wakanda by Ta-Nehisi Coates, and it's amazing. But but I also don't know too much on Ulysses Claw. But even from the stuff I've seen from non-MCU, he's cool, but Bizarro is just a really unique villain. He's a
Yeah.
really unique, interesting villain, and I easily have Bizarro moving on.
All right.
So
Cool.
then we have Gore the God Butcher versus Lex Luthor. Both of us. This should be hard for me, but it's not.
This is extremely hard for me.
That's the correct way to feel, but I don't.
I hate to do this, but give me Lex Luthor.
I mean, that's the correct choice.
Yeah, it's just like we only have Gore in the first story arc of Jason Aaron's run, and in King Thor. That's about it.
That is it.
He's super badass in both of them.
Wait, we have Love and Thunder. We have Love and Thunder too.
Yes, that's not. Yeah, it doesn't exist in my head canon.
that
like,
hurts. That hurts.
That's in the
chances.
bin.
Yeah.
So definitely Lex Luthor.
I'll quickly say about Love and Thunder. The scene where it's like black and white, I did like that of Gore. I actually think he could have been really great. Christian Bale could have killed it, but the movie just didn't allow it.
Yeah.
But that scene where it's like black and white, and it's like they're all wrapped up. I like that scene.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
Lex Luthor is a correct answer. I think he's one of the best comic book villains ever. To have Superman's villain just be a dude, just be a bald dude that's just rich, is so interesting. It's never not interesting for me. But personally, I love Gore. So I'm going with Gore.
Yeah. I can't be mad at that because I was heavily debating amongst the two. So
yeah,
I
love Gore in the comics. Then we both have Doctor Doom versus, doesn't really matter, but I've got Doctor Doom versus Harley Quinn. You've got Annihilus.
Give me Doctor Doom.
Then I have Loki versus Green Goblin. You have Ultron versus Hugo Strange.
Give me Ultron.
Okay. Green Goblin over Loki.
Fair enough.
I don't even know why I pondered. If we were talking live action, I probably would have to ponder, but we aren't. Then I've got Two-Face versus Bizarro, and you've got Kraven versus Bizarro.
Give me Kraven.
This is really tough for me because Two-Face is the better villain, but I've always just found Bizarro so cool. Like he's just he's so unique, and the fact like we've seen a lot of, you can't really compare Reverse Flash, but like it's like the hero but different but bad. But it's like it's not just that with Bizarro. Like, we have Bizarro World and just like the way he talks and I'm gonna go with Bizarro. That is an actual coin flip, though. I think I would usually say Two-Face, but in the moment right now, I'm gonna go with Bizarro.
No pun intended on the coin flip.
I didn't even think of that. So then you have Lex Luthor versus Doctor Doom. I have Gore versus Doctor Doom.
Doctor Doom.
Yeah,
it's not gonna be fair for like any of the other villains.
Yeah, Gore would beat most of the villains here, but not Doom. He does not beat Doom.
Yep.
Then I've got Green Goblin versus Bizarro. Green Goblin. And you have Ultron versus Kraven?
Yeah. Ultron.
Wow. Okay.
I really like Ultron.
All right.
I fell in love with him. Not really fell in love with him, but I grew an interest in him. Avengers: Age of Ultron. Then I read Annihilation Conquest. That was badass. I read the Age of Ultron comic. I thought it was terrible.
I remember that. Yeah.
Oh my god! It was just set up for like the next reboot of Marvel. It was terrible.
Okay.
I hated it. But in that and like everything else. I really like Ultron, so I'm going to go with Ultron.
It's another I'll always bring up the show. He's really great in Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Ultron is.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So to end it, this whole section, I've got Green Goblin versus Doom, and you've got Ultron versus Doom.
Give me Doom, baby. Give me Doom.
Doom. Easy. So for my final four, I have Doom versus, I believe it's Mysterio. Yeah, Doom versus Mysterio. And then after that, I've got Venom versus Darkseid. So Darkseid versus Venom, and then okay. So and then you have Darkseid, Scarecrow. Darkseid versus Scarecrow, right? Didn't you have Scarecrow coming out of there? Okay. Darkseid versus Scarecrow for you. And then you have Joker. No, I'm just kidding. You have Deathstroke versus Doom.
Doom. For Deathstroke versus Doom, give me Doom.
Yeah. It's an easy one. I've got Mysterio versus Doom. And I am going Mysterio.
Oh, no. God, no. Oh. Fair enough.
I figured you'd have a reaction like that. And then for the other one, I have Darkseid versus Venom. This is very easy.
And I have Darkseid versus Scarecrow, right?
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
Oh, Darkseid.
I've got Venom beating Darkseid. Without a shadow of a doubt.
Oh.
And I also didn't even bring this up. I guess I might as well bring it up now. I know, especially Venom and maybe some of these others have become like anti-heroes recently. But at the end of the day, I see Venom as a Spider-Man villain. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's fair.
Recently, he's very, very much become an anti-hero.
Yeah.
But I still think he's a Spider-Man villain at the end of the day. So I have Venom versus Mysterio, two Spidey villains. And then you have Doom versus... Who was it?
Darkseid.
Doom versus Darkseid. That's a cool matchup.
It is a cool matchup, but as much as it pains me to say this, it's pretty easy. Give me Dr. Doom.
Okay. I thought you were going to say Darkseid.
I was thinking about it, but then, like, as cool and badass as Darkseid is and how much of a threat he is, comparatively to Doom, since he's just, like, a regular human who basically restarted a whole universe in his image. He's just more like he's more of like the fascinating and interesting character. So I'm going with Dr. Doom to take the win.
Yeah, I'll say about Mysterio beating Doom. I think Doom is the best comic book villain of all time. I think he's unbiased. He's the best. He's my number 3 favorite. My top 2 are the ones that it's Venom and Mysterio. There are plenty of others that are, up there for me. Gore's up there. There's plenty of others. It's hard to even, all the Spider-Man villains, all the Batman villains. But Mysterio is my favorite comic book villain of all time. So I got Mysterio beating Venom.
Okay.
Yeah, Mysterio is just my favorite. It comes down to what I said earlier. From the moment I saw him when I was a kid, his costume, I think, is just the coolest.
I mean, it honestly all comes down to who you think is the coolest. So,
yeah.
And I think that's perfectly valid. So,
but I think his powers are so fun because he doesn't really have powers. It's all illusions. And I think the possibilities are endless when it comes to illusions. You can just,
definitely.
there's so many cool things you can do with them. he's been portrayed as really goofy, and I like that. And he's been portrayed as like a serious threat, and I like that too. He's just, yeah, I just love Mysterio. I love him in the MCU. I love him even more in the comics. Yeah, I just think he's. I used to have a trade of. I wish I wouldn't have gotten rid of it. It was called Spider-Man versus Mysterio, and it's just a lot of different
Okay.
Spider-Man Mysterio stories. I got rid of
Oh,
it.
that's cool. Yeah.
Because I kind of had most of it already collected physically, so I guess it made sense to get rid of. But yeah,
All
I do
right.
agree.
Well,
I think your choice of Doom winning is the correct answer if
I
there
kind
were
of
one.
I kind of already had it like envisioned like Doom was gonna win because he's Doom,
He's just
and
yeah.
like I mean, that's all I gotta say. He is Doom. So, and I just watched like a I've been watching like video essays on different like comic storylines. I just saw one of both the 1980s Secret Wars and the Jonathan Hickman Secret Wars, and it just makes me like Doom a lot more. It's just like how badass he is. Um, but yeah, I got
That's
Doom as my number one villain.
that's one of the comics I'm considering putting behind the figures is it's Secret Wars where it's like he's like all tattered. It looks like I haven't read it
Yeah,
so I don't know, but like that's like a really cool one.
that's a really great like picture of Doom.
Yeah, so I really hope we get a good live action Doom.
If I have any inkling of like Doom being subpar to what he is in the comics, or in like if he just turns out as Gore, I'm gone. I'm leaving. If he's like on the same level as Gore and like in the MCU, I'm talking about.
I
Oh
agree. I might have to dip out as well.
yeah. Once that shows like how goofy Doom is in the movie theaters, I'm gonna leave.
You're gonna
I'm
walk out.
leaving.
You're gonna walk
I'm
out.
leaving. I may spend $25 or $20 on my movie ticket, but I don't want to taint my eyes on. I don't want to take my image on Doom. So yeah, but yeah,
That was a
that
fun
was
one. That was a
it was a
fun.
fun one. Yeah. With that being said, is there anything else you wanna bring up? Say it could be either from the Shazam movie discussion, could be from the villain discussion, could be anything in the future or next episode next week.
Yeah, I mean, I know if you want to talk about, we know what we're doing next episode.
Yes, sir. So next episode we are reviewing TMNT Volume 2, the Library Edition. I'm excited to continue reading TMNT. And then we got the favorite comic book bracket.
Yeah,
I don't know if you want to keep if you still want to do that, we could. Or if you have something else in mind, we can always do that.
I'm gonna brainstorm a little bit. We'll see.
Whatever we come up with, we'll update you guys on the Twitter that you guys should follow to keep updated on anything about the podcast. And also, I'm excited for this one. The who do you whose voice do you hear when you read comic books? It'll be interesting to say the least because there isn't a hero or villain or a character that I don't already have like a voice connected to essentially. So it'll be interesting to see like who you hear when you read or who I hear when I read because I know a little teaser. I know that a lot of people hear Kevin Conroy's voice when
You
they read
don't?
that. I do not.
Whoa.
I do sometimes. It fluctuates. It
Yeah,
depends.
I have fluctuations.
But I don't know if you know like the voice actor for like Justice League War for Batman. I like his voice a lot as Batman, so I tend to associate his voice more with the comic Batman. But I do here and there fluctuate between. I forgot the voice actor's name between his voice as Batman and Kevin Conroy's voice as Batman. So you were
Gotcha.
there. But obviously, based on that reaction, we will have a lot more reactions like that when we talk about it with both who do we hear when we read and the favorite comic book bracket. Obviously, anything else like news-wise, we'll discuss in the beginning of the episode. With that being said, is there anything else you want to, bring up about next week's episode, or just like anything you want to say before we sign off?
I'm excited to read TMNT IDW again. It was great, so I'm excited
Yeah.
to keep that going.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I did hear, speaking of TMNT, that they're making a TMNT Last Ronin AAA game that's in the same
What?
vicinity of like God of War, like the same structure as God of War.
What?
Yeah, I
Dude,
just saw it today.
no way.
Yeah, so with that announcement, I'm gonna definitely read Last Ronin, or if you
That's
want to read
on
it together,
that's
is,
on
is
our
it on the wheel?
I put it on the miniseries wheel. It's already on there.
Okay, cool. All right, excellent, excellent. So whenever we land on Last Ronin, we'll definitely read it and talk about like our expectations for that AAA God of War like
Oh
Last Ronin
my
TMNT game.
god.
Yeah, it sounds really cool. It says like they were very much influenced by the recent God of War game. So imagine, oh
Whoa.
damn, that's gonna be cool. That's gonna be cool. That's definitely gonna be cool. I'm excited for that. I've been loving TMNT recently, so I'm definitely on like the TMNT train right now. Um, with that being said, definitely check out our previous episodes. Like always, they're great. You want to check up? We did other brackets too. I know we did the Marvel movie bracket, DC movie bracket. I think we did a Heroes movie bracket,
Heroes.
did we? Yeah, we did that. We did a Heroes movie bracket too. Our final bracket for this month will be next week. Whether we'll stick with our favorite comic book bracket or just any other bracket we might come up with.
Yeah.
Definitely check that out next week. Um, but yeah, is there anything else you want to say before we close it off?
No, just like I said, excited for TMNT IDW. Yeah, I'm excited to read that again,
Me
or
too.
to read the second volume. Not
Yeah,
again.
I'm excited. So like I said, if you guys want to keep updated with everything that's going on with the podcast, definitely check out our Twitter and TikTok. It's gonna be at ComicsRTW, and definitely check us out on Spotify. But you already are listening on Spotify, Comics Run the World. Same thing on YouTube, Comics Run the World. Where can they find you out there, Woody?
I'm about to start streaming Dark Souls 3 on Twitch, so Woody307 on Twitch, and
Awesome.
our TikTok and Twitter if TikTok isn't banned.
Hopefully not. And if it is, we'll probably move to Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts.
Yeah, and honestly, I think if it does get banned, there's going to be some other
Yeah,
new TikTok that pops up or something.
definitely. But I feel like YouTube. Well, I mean, both YouTube and Instagram Reels will be like a good boost if it does get banned, because this is like the sixth or eighth time there's the possibility of TikTok getting banned. So who knows? But if you guys want to follow me, I'm on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Orion Scott Comics. Definitely, again, follow the podcast on our Twitter and TikTok, Comics RTW. And with that being said, make sure to check out next week's episode and our previous episodes. And just remember, guys, the comics run the world. See ya.